Good afternoon, good morning in some cases. Welcome. Thank you for joining up today. And I know there's a large number that will be listening to this. We'll be sending out a recording to everyone that's on the call that has signed up for the webinar itself. And so we'll make sure we get that out to you. So many of you are listening to this as a recorded session. Those that have joined me live, I appreciate you taking the time today. I know it's busy. I know you are busy, and we're going to be respectful of that and make sure we finish this within 30 minutes. But again, open to questions. Any questions, throw them in the Q&A. Happy to answer them. And I've got colleagues that have joined me, Christina and Jason in the background. And if there's any questions that you've got, please, again, throw them into the Q&A. So welcome to this program. Welcome to an overview as we go through this. There's a significant field that's growing out there, and we want to share a bit of information with you. But first, let's acknowledge today Indigenous peoples of all the lands that we're on. While we meet today on a virtual platform, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the lands which we call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this land home. Please join me in a moment of reflection to acknowledge the effect of residential schools and colonialism on Indigenous families and communities, and to consider how we are and can each, in our own way, try to move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. I'd also like to recognize June as National Indigenous History Month in Canada, and that June 21st, this coming Saturday, is National Indigenous Peoples Day. Welcome. Welcome to Queen's University. Welcome to the School of Business, and welcome to an overview of this program, the Certificate in Professional Impact Analysis. Our next class starts next month, actually July 14th, and we'd love to have you part of the program. We've got about a little over 20 lined up right now. We're probably going to have about 25. We can certainly accommodate 30 or more. And we've had strong interest in the program. We welcome you to the program, and I think you'd certainly enjoy it. My name is Glenn Hollis. I was formerly the director of the Accelerated MBA program. I now run the CPIA program as part of the Center for Entrepreneurship, Innovation, and Social Impact. I'll leave my email at the end of this as well, and feel free to reach out to me with any questions. So the CPIA, or Certificate in Professional Impact Analysis, is the only program that measures good. And we're going to talk a lot about that. I know I've got people on the call having seen backgrounds that are from for-profit, not-for-profit, government of various stripes and levels, provincial, municipal, federal. And this is designed, as you'll hear, this program's designed for those that are in a wide variety of organizations, for-profit as well as not-for-profit, NGOs, etc., that look to measure impact programs that they have undertaken or will undertake. How do we measure them? And I'll talk a little bit about that. So what's the story here? Well, great brands, and this is my background as a marketer, great companies, great organizations, what have you, they have a greater sense of purpose. And you're going to hear a lot about that, this idea of standing for something bigger than themselves, a greater social good, leaders that care about people, planets, and communities. And these leaders are part of these great brands, and they really have their mind and their heart in doing good. And increasingly in the for-profit space, doing well and doing good can absolutely coexist. So these organizations, they certainly command a higher value, enjoy stronger commitment from their employees, greater productivity, and greater notoriety in the community. Plain and simple, doing good is good, and doing more good is what we're looking to measure so that we can certainly continue this cycle. So our mission is to enable you, your leaders. You are involved directly, indirectly, eventually in programs of impact in some capacity, corporate social responsibility, programs in government, etc. And it's about measuring good so you can do more good. Simple as that. So impact projects, again, this is not completely exhaustive, but they typically fall into two camps. Community and societal betterment projects. So think CIBC's Run for the Cure, Tim Hortons Children's Foundation, think government or NGOs that are doing different projects, community work, etc. And then also business for good. And in this case, think of environmental, social, governance, ESG investing. Ocean Steel, one of our students that was in the program, he was involved in Ocean Steel, and their customers were asking about green steel. So looking at projects like that, and we'll use that as one of the cases that I'll speak to in more detail. Suncor, windshield washer refill stations instead of all the plastic that's out there. And there's a number of other projects as well, and different things. It could be building roads for communities, feeding children to school programs. It could be, as we talked about, CSR programs in organizations and companies. So the big question is, how do you measure these good investments? So why measure it to begin with? Well, we know there's all sorts of things that get measured: financial performance, customer sat, productivity, all different things. But there's few that have a strong handle on measuring their social, environmental, and economic projects. And this is why we wanted to put something into place with rigor and discipline, the same kind of rigor and discipline that goes into financial reporting. And this is the sort of the guts of the program. So now you can, and this program's designed to do that, to provide the kind of tools, techniques, templates, ROI, measurement approaches. And the good news is, or better news, it's a growing field. There's more and more scrutiny. And that kind of scrutiny comes from stakeholders. So it could be shareholders, it could be customers, it could be employees, government, community, what have you. But more and more are asking, those things that we do, those impact projects, those investments, are they actually moving the needle? Are we doing as what we set out to do, doing as well as we hope to? So we're getting increasing demand from stakeholders to answer the question about this, because everybody recognizes, and more, there's limited dollars to go around. How do you ensure it's being spent in the most productive, impactful way? So that's what we brought forward as this program, a nice tight format that measures that, teaches you how to measure it, and empowers you to be able to measure it and measure it more often. And ultimately and critically report out to shareholders and stakeholders about this idea of measuring good. So in comparison, we talked about financial accounting and management. You do it for compliance and reporting, but you also do it to make better decisions. That's exactly the same approach that we've taken to this idea of evidence-based and rigor around measuring impact. It is designed to provide clarity, transparency, but also to make better decisions. Should we do more of this, less of this, stop, start, when it comes to different projects of impact? So how do we do it? Well, there's 3 different modules that we're going to share as part of this program. And it's disciplined and it's rigorous, and it's designed to empower you to be able to carry on this sort of measure. So impact foundations really give you this overview of impact at different organizations. Impact accounting, don't be scared by the term accounting. It really is just quantifying your footprint. This is not a math course. And then evaluating and learning. How do you report out, manage, and adapt? And that's an important piece of this. Tell the good story, and we'll talk more about that. So let me go into some detail. And again, throw any questions you've got into the chat. But I wanted to go into some detail about the program itself. 3 modules, all online, all recorded. You can watch, rewatch them at your leisure. And these are coupled with virtual full-day capstones. So 3 modules, 3 capstones over 6 months. And it's designed to be leisurely in the way we pace this. The 6 months is not completely intense. Lectures are doled out 1 a week over each module, 4 lectures for every module, then a live capstone, virtual but live, where you're paired with coaches. You meet your other students, your colleagues in the program. You meet and work with faculty. There are coffee chat days available, to answer questions and dig into some things in a more substantial way. So all of these are ultimately culminate in a certification exam where you are certified as a professional impact analyst. and you will know the ways to go about this. Program cost is $2,500 per module, $7,500 in total plus tax. That includes everything: program materials, lectures, coaching, access to faculty, case studies, the credentials and certification at the end. You don't have to pay it all at once. You can pay this out over the 6 months. Scholarships for Indigenous and First Nation students are available. We've got discounts for those that bring 3 or more. And we've got in this first cohort that's now finishing, it started in January, it ends in June. We've had a number of organizations that have sent 3 or more students, and they'll enjoy a discount as part of that. It's designed to be flexible. And the 3 modules are spread out over those 6 months, as I mentioned. And the lectures are all online on the OnCue platform that you'll have access to. You can watch or rewatch. There's a quiz after each of the lectures, mini quiz based on the content. And you'll get full certification as well as a tax receipt, a T2202, as part of this. So it is designed to be compacted. It's designed to be impactful, and it's designed to be very accessible. The program faculty we've got some amazing people. We've got Dr. Elspeth Murray, who is with the business school. She teaches strategy, teaches in all of the MBA programs. And we've got 2 professors from the economics department here at Queen's, Dr. Bhavan Kashi and Dr. Chris Cotton. And these 3 individuals are very involved in the program, teaching the program, and again, are very accessible within the program itself. So the 3 modules, Impact Foundations, and here really what this is an overview, and it's designed to give you a sense of, the types of analysis, the types of impact that exist out there, and really give you a sense of, how do these fit into organizations, be it for-profit and not-for-profit. You will get case studies, you will have examples, and you will be provided a toolkit as part of this program within each of the modules. The second one is called Impact Accounting, and this is really looking at value for money, cost analysis, looking at cost benefit, effectiveness, cost efficiency, and looking at the measures. Typically, there are proxies that are used as measures when it comes to impact accounting. We're doing this, and we think we're giving this kind of benefit to these kinds of people or this number of people, or over this time, there's been this many things. This is really looking at it in a way that measures it with cases and examples where you can bring it to life, but it's designed to be rigorous and disciplined. The third module is about evaluating and learning, and this is measuring what matters, how to monitor, how to evaluate, how to make decisions, and critically, as part of this, in addition to the tools and case studies, critically, you're going to learn how to tell a good story. How do you tell and talk about the results that you get out of this learning and this measure? And how do you convince people? And how do you continue to do good and move the needle? And these are the things that are important. And there's a book out there called More Than Good Intentions. And typically in the space of impact, there's been a lot talked about in terms of the good things we do, or it's meaningful, but really measuring that. So moving beyond this idea of good intentions is what we're putting into this program. So let me take you through a couple of impact cases. This sort of brings to life a sense of some of the different things that we're looking at when you think of impact projects or investments. So Coke, as an example, was looking to switch to social plastic, this idea of moving to recycled plastic. So questions they needed to answer and critically measure: is it socially justifiable? Is it financially viable? Is it feasible at scale? And they needed to tell the story and convince people to be able to pilot this, but also to roll it out. RBC talks about reporting on social return, this idea of ESG investing. Is it a defensible methodology? And what additional data is needed, if it is needed, to be able to tell the story about investing into this space, but also critically building out portfolios that include stocks that have a sense or a backbone of ESG. Tourmaline Oil Company, an oil company in the oil patch out in Alberta, was looking to switch to natural gas. And that's part of what they wanted to do for their machinery. And critically, you can imagine an oil company needed to be able to answer the mail, answer the questions from stakeholders. What's the impact on greenhouse gas emissions? Is it net financial and economic? What's the net financial economic impact of this? If they are going to move to that, is that something that was going to be of value? World Health Organization was advocating for food safety infrastructure. How do you measure it? What does it cost? And can you roll it out? Does the value of benefits on health and trade, does that warrant the rolling out, the expansion of a program like that? And that was important to their partner organizations like International Finance Corporation. Tim Hortons Children's Foundation, I used to be involved in that. And this was really looking at the measure of the good that we do. Of course, Tim's is about selling donuts and coffee, but critically, one of their projects, their impact projects, was the Tim Hortons Children's Foundation. Should we invest in another camp? Should we change gears and switch and invest into something else? How do we measure it beyond simply the number of kids that we send to camp? It's got to be measured more in a more impactful and rigorous way. Or should we invest money into something else? Now, Tim's also had a corporate side, this idea of business for good when it comes to things like selling fair trade coffee versus an investment into their own coffee partnership program, or fair hiring practices, or converting their fleet, their massive fleet of delivery trucks, distribution from distribution centers into electric. And then Ocean Steel, I talked about this at the beginning, and one of our students is involved in this organization, and their customers were saying, we love the steel you build. It's good quality, and of course, we're a strong customer. But more and more, we're getting demand for green steel. So this idea of building steel, producing steel with a reduced greenhouse emission and carbon footprint impact. First of all, is there a demand? Yeah, we've got customers asking for it. Is it good for the world? And then critically, are we going to make money out of it? And there's no sin in profit meets, in corporate social responsibility. So measuring that in an impactful way is this idea of a balance between the best of both worlds. So who should attend the program? Well, leaders like you, leaders of tomorrow. We certainly know that this is a growing field. And this is just a small example of leaders that we've seen that are out there. But leaders that are involved in some capacity, it could be in finance, could be in marketing, could be in brand management. It could be on a number of different levels. It could be in organizations that are not-for-profit in government, where they're investing into different societal well-being projects. And it's a growing career. It's a growing part of business and organizations, for-profit and not-for-profit. Louise Kent, who will, part of the program is networking as well. And we've got Louise, who is the Chief Impact Officer, a new but growing role. And Louise is going to be joining the program, doing a webinar next week. And that webinar is for current students as well as those that are coming in. And we've got about 50, 60 people that are lined up to meet with Louise. And Louise is going to overview her journey to the chair. How did she get to the role of Chief Impact Officer? What was her academic journey? What was her career journey? And then she's going to field questions. And we're also going to connect people together. And that's part of the value of this program, is networking and meeting people like Louise, who are in the role of Chief Impact Officer, and understanding how did she get there. And we're also going to have the faculty that'll join us at that session. And they will help people also understand what's the connection to a program like this, where you've got a CPIA, a certificate in professional impact analysis. How does that relate to feeding or building one's career credentials so that they can ultimately find their way to earn their way to the Chief Impact Officer chair as part of the C-suite? So it's a growing career space, and we're excited about having Louise that will share with the students who are in the program now and are joining the program in July. So if you're interested, flip me a note. I'll leave my email at the end of this. But as Dr. Kashi, one of our professors, he acknowledges that these CIOs, these Chief Impact Officers of tomorrow, are going to need this foundational knowledge. How to choose the right kind of methods, approaches, tools to define, measure, manage, monitor, and evaluate. And critically tell the story. And that's the important piece of this as well, is to decipher that measure and be able to tell the story so that you can convince people or make people feel satisfied and content about where the direction of their impact measurement is headed. So I'll open this up. I did say that I would make sure that we finished within 30 minutes. We're certainly going to do that. And I'm opening this up to any questions. But if you've got anything that you want to, ask me after the fact, feel free to reach out. Take the email down, send me a note. I'd be happy to talk about that. Happy to talk about Louise Kent, who will join us next week at our networking career sort of overview webinar that happens. And we're excited to have her as part of that, as well as the faculty. And if you've got any more, or you want any more detail, you can certainly go to our website and simply Google Queen Smith CPIA, and you can see the website, which will give you an opportunity to. Yeah, and you can also join the program starting in July. We'd love to have you as part of the program for sure. But again, throw in any questions that you've got, and if you're able to, and those that are listening after the fact that I'm sending this out to, I'm sending it to everybody, but those that are listening after the fact to the recording, please feel free to reach out to me as well. Happy to talk about it. There is still time and space for the July program, although as I mentioned, we've got, I think, 22 lined up now, and we're hoping to have, planning to have 25, but we could accommodate as many as 30. And we're excited about the program and kind of where we're headed. So I'll just look and see if there's any questions that are in here as we're going through. One of the questions we typically get is, what does the schedule look like? And I'll just share that because I know this has come up as a question before. So this is, and again, I mentioned over 6 months. Each of the 3 modules is nicely designed. So there's a lecture a week. So July 14th is the first lecture release on the OnQ platform that you'll have access to. Watch it, rewatch it. There'll be a mini quiz after it, a mini assignment that's based on that lecture. And then there's the next week, a second lecture, a third and a fourth over the 4 weeks. And then a couple of weeks after that, there'll be the capstone day, where it's a day you need to set aside, virtual but live, where you are working in groups with teams, with coaches, and with faculty, and going through and bringing to life the case, the content through case study. So that's module 1. Module 2, impact accounting, that happens in September, and it runs pretty much through September, a lecture a week, again, leisurely, flexible pace. A capstone at the end of that finds its way into mid-October. And then the third module, evaluating and learning, telling the story, is something that happens through pretty much November. And then the final capstone happens the tail end of November. And then early December will be the virtual writing of the final exam. So that's kind of how it all maps out. And again, if you've got any questions, feel free to throw anything you want in, or feel free, as I mentioned before, I'll put my email back up to reach out to me and ask any questions that you've got. So if there are no questions, again, thank you for your time. This was designed to be quick, digestible, bite-sized overview, which is pretty much how the course is designed as well. You'd love the faculty. I'm taking it now. I'm just finishing. I wanted to be able to understand the program, so I took it. And again, it's been a delightful 6 months that's been the program. So we'd love to have you. Take care, all the best, and hope to hear from you soon.